The evil teams in the Pokemon universe. A reoccurring theme in every game since the original. All fueled by an idealistic boss who you ultimately defeat and later forget about as you continue on your journey. Pretty basic, right? Wrong. The leaders of these teams may hold more secrets than you can possibly even imagine. The 7 deadly sins. Abuse or overindulgence in normal human passions. 7 traits that when thrown out of whack, upset the natural balance. I'm Looney Tooney, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how the personalities of the evil team leaders in the Pokemon universe represent the 7 deadly sins. Okay, before we begin, I need to give a quick shout out to the Aquatic Charizard and his Ultra Beast are the 7 deadly sins video, because it's what put this idea in my head in the first place. So guys, make sure you go send them love and let them know I sent you. Now, let's get into the video. Giovanni. Gluttony. If I could use any 3 words to describe Giovanni, they would be money, power, success. Unlike many other Pokemon villains, Giovanni doesn't have some radical, ideal-fueled plan. No, he has but one goal: get money and hold power. Giovanni uses Team Rocket to steal Pokemon so that he can sell them back and make a profit in return. He is a true businessman in every sense of the word. He even goes so far as to creating one of the most powerful Pokemon in the world to be able to gain the power that he desires. Even though he is already rich beyond belief, owning many businesses, including the casino, and being a gym leader, he takes over Silphco, one of the most lucrative companies in the Pokemon world, to try to get his hands on the Master Ball. A ball that can catch any Pokemon without fail. So, we can assume that Giovanni had plans to track down the rarest of rare Pokemon in the world and capture them for his own personal gain. Giovanni is a man who, despite having more than what he needs, is never satisfied and attempts to get more and more. Gluttony. Okay guys, we can agree that Archie and Maxie are basically the same person. Their goals differ slightly, but in the long run, they are exactly the same. So, Maxie and Archie. Greed. After having their own games, as well as getting remakes, we all know the goals of Team Aqua and Team Magma by now. Expand the sea, expand the land. Although there is already a perfect balance of sea to land in this world, the leaders of these groups don't see it that way. Maxie doesn't mind expanding the landmass, killing lots of marine life, and seriously putting one of Earth's most precious resources in jeopardy. And Archie? Archie doesn't care about the lives of the humans and the Pokemon that will not be able to survive the massive amounts of rain and water that Kyogre will bring. All these two care about is fulfilling their own goals, regardless of those who may suffer as a result. Whatever it is that they wanted, that's the only thing that matters. Even the rational opinions of those close to them fell on deaf ears when they differed from these leaders. These two guys are the very definition of greedy, getting whatever they want no matter the cost, and on top of everything else, not sharing with others when there's plenty to share, hoarding it all for themselves. Cyrus. Pride. Pride. The original and most deadly of the 7 sins. The perversion of the faculties that make humans more like God. For those of you who don't know, Cyrus has a serious God complex. Look at the goal he wanted to accomplish. He wanted to summon Dialga or Palkia and use their power to not only destroy the planet, but the entire universe, and then started over as a god. This man has the audacity to forcefully use the Pokemon of creation to do his bidding. Let's look at his backstory. Although he was a good student in school, he was never very sociable with others. All of his efforts were not enough to please his parents, so he felt rejected by them. At this point, Cyrus decides that emotions are the biggest problem with the world and the cause of many of the problems. So, he abandons all emotions and his spiritual connection with the world and only starts to worry about himself. It is said that pride is the beginning of all other sins, which I find ironic considering Cyrus wants to start everything over from the beginning. Many books will mention that it's very symbolic that the word pride has an I sound prominent in it. And, would you look at that, Cyrus also has a prominent I sound. Even though all of his plans were crushed, Cyrus decides to see it all the way to the end, ultimately sealing his fate. It is said that the proud are not easily taught. They won't change their minds to accept truths, because to do so implies that they have been wrong. Pride. Gestus. Sloth. The definition of sloth has changed over the course of history, so we're going to do our best to try to keep things together here. Throughout the entire Black and White games, we are made to think that N is the leader of Team Plasma, but later we found out a much more sinister truth. N was abandoned as a child and found by Gestus. Gestus took him in, but brainwashed him into thinking that the only thing humans do is hurt Pokemon. N was not allowed to play with other children or have any human contact outside of Gestus and the 7 Sages when he was a child. He was only allowed to play with Pokemon. Injured Pokemon. After N is defeated by the player, Gestus reveals that he has been using N and all of Team Plasma under false pretense. The real reason he has been stealing Pokemon isn't to separate them from humans, but to ultimately be the only person in Unova with Pokemon and reign as the king of the Unova region. This is more or less his same plans as Black and White 2, except there, he wants to cover the entire region in ice by using Kyurem. The thing that makes Gestus sloth is the fact that when you think about it, he doesn't do any of the work for himself. He uses Team Plasma, N, Corliss, the 7 Sages, and the Shadow Triad to do all of his work for him. See, you have to understand, sloth is not only laziness, but it's having an unwillingness to act or unwillingness to love. Receiving the fruits of the efforts of others, which just about sums up Gestus. Lysander. Wrath. If you guys have watched any of my Pokemon discussions in the past, then you know that Lysander is my favorite Pokemon antagonist of all time. So, why is he Wrath? Let's look at a little backstory about the Team Flare leader. A while back, Lysander was once a loving, compassionate man who spent most of his time giving out money and resources to people who were in need. However, after a while, the people became greedy and started demanding more and more from him. They ridiculed him, and they turned his helping hand into nothing. Feeling resentment from human beings and their selfish nature, Lysander decided that there was only one course of action: to completely wipe away all traces of life on the planet and create a brand new utopia. He loses so much faith in humanity that even after being defeated and proved wrong, Lysander still chooses to fire the ultimate weapon in an attempt to annihilate all life on Earth, after coming to the conclusion that human beings are the ultimate evil and don't deserve to live in the world. Lysander is a very interesting character. It's funny when you think about it. Lysander's entire plan was the result of being mistreated by humans in their selfish human nature, and that is what brought upon his wrath. Lucina. Lust. I think that this one is pretty much self-explanatory, because all Lucina cares about, and she says this on numerous occasions, is beauty. She even had the audacity to tell best girl Lily that she wasn't beautiful enough to exist in her world. Lucina is fixated on beauty. She takes this to the extreme by saying that only things that she deems beautiful should be allowed to exist in the world. Her extreme lust puts beauty before her own health, and she ventures into ultra space where she conjoins with the creature who poisons her body, all because it is beautiful. I love the way that Pokemon handled Lucimina's character. The entire time we get to see the age-old battle of lust versus love. Her lust for a new world versus her instinctive motherly love. And lastly, Guzman. Envy. Guzman is the leader of Team Skull, a group of thieves and gangsters. So, how does he qualify as a deadly sin? Let's take a closer look. When we first meet Guzman, he reveals that he was rejected when trying to become a trial captain, and seems to be extremely jealous of Kukui after Kukui tells him that he could have been a trial captain, but he doesn't want to. An enraged Guzman goes so far as to say, "Someday I'm gonna destroy you, Kukui, but first I'll destroy everything you care about." Now, why would someone have so much hatred towards a person unless they were envious of them? Ever notice how Guzman yells when he speaks? Or how he refers to himself as the big bad boss Guzman? What's the point of that? It's simple. Guzman wants to make a name for himself. After being rejected from being a trial captain and seeing Kukui become so popular, Guzman's hatred and envy towards Kukui makes him resort to thievery to overcompensate for his insecurities. Also, it's worth mentioning that he literally stole all of the Bugnium Z from everyone in Alola so that he would be the only one that has it. Envy of everyone else. Alright guys, that wraps up this video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to subscribe to my channel for future Pokemon content. Make sure you like the video, comment your opinion, even if you don't agree. Please comment below and tell me what the disagreement is. I always appreciate constructive criticism, and thank you guys again for watching, and until the next video, best wishes.